Crack Daddy Barbecue. It is a scorcher outside, so we decided no barbecuing today. Instead, we put a roast in the crock pot. So, what else goes better with crock pot roast? I tell you what, homemade yeast rolls. So, with the heat index of 106, I'm willing to sacrifice heating up the house to make these rolls. We made these 2 years ago, and let me tell you what, it was a complete fail. I am no Betty Crocker. So, let's try to make these rolls, and we'll take you step by step and show you what we're gonna do. So, here's the cookbook, A Taste of a Cowboy, Ranch Recipes and Tales from the Trail by Kent Rollins. I got this book off of Amazon, and we're gonna use his yeast roll recipe, which is located on page 182, along with some great other cowboy recipes. So if you're into camping and you wanna take your family camping, you wanna use some real cowboy cooking, I suggest this book for you. Okay guys, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bloom our yeast. Now, the reason I added this sugar is yeast. You gotta have something for your yeast to feed off of. So let's put this in here. So here's 1 packet, here's 2 packets. Now, when this starts activating, it is going to start bubbling like they're feeding off of it, and that's what you want. Because if you don't have that, then that just means one thing. You got some dead yeast. So let's mix this all together, and then we'll get started on the rest of it. Okay guys, as you remember, we were at a half a cup. And look at this, we are at 1 cup of active yeast. Look how quick that was to bloom. Less than a minute, and we're like that. So you know what that means? We got some lively little yeast right here. Okay y'all, so here in our saucepan, I have a half a stick of butter, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. It calls for a half of a teaspoon, but since we're using salted butter and we're using sea salt, it's gonna be a little bit more salty. So we're gonna turn this on to a low simmer. 3/4 of a cup of milk we're gonna add to this. And then I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar. So I'm just gonna stir this in, you know, you just wanna melt your butter up. Just gonna take a little bit to dissolve the sugar, dissolve the salt, and then we're gonna let this cool off for a little bit, because if this gets too hot, you can actually kill your yeast. And what can I say? You're not gonna have any rolls. Like I said before, I'm no Betty Crocker, but I'll tell you what, my grandma makes a killer yeast rolls that I've tried duplicating in the past, and they do not come out anything like hers.
But we're not gonna give up.
Crack Daddy is not gonna give up either. Okay y'all, so my butter, my sugar, and my salt mixture and my milk has melted down. So we've been following this step by step for recipe, and now I'm gonna turn it over to Melissa, and she's gonna be reading me the rest of it.
So in his actual cookbook, next he would do the yeast, but we, like we showed y'all, did the original, and he calls for rapid rise. So we wanted to give our yeast some time to bloom, and that's why we did this. But definitely in his recipe, it calls for 2 1/4 ounce packages of rapid rise yeast. But if you're like us and buy the wrong one, just do it before your milk.
Okay guys, so my mixture is done melting with the butter. So we're gonna take this off the stove, we're gonna let it cool off so it doesn't kill our yeast. Okay y'all, look at how much this yeast has risen. So, what do we do next?
Okay, according to the cookbook, we were actually supposed to start the yeast in the bowl. So put it in. That way it could keep growing. Wow, look at that.
This smells so good, like raw bread.
All right. Then next, it says to add 2 cups of flour And it does call for all-purpose flour, but we're using something a little different.
We are going to be using Bluebird flour, which is from New Mexico. So let's get our 2 cups of flour.
So now we mix. Now it does say to use a mixer, but last time we did that, it was a mess. It would be so perfect if we had a stand mixer to do this. So we're gonna try to just do it by hand.
All right, Melissa, so I stirred in the flour with the yeast. What else do I need to do?
Now add 1 egg.
Here we have 1 egg. Can you see that, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, here's 1 egg. What else?
Now add in the lukewarm mixture we cooked on the stove.
There's our mixture, y'all.
Definitely make sure it's lukewarm. That
Oh
way
yes, you don't kill
you
our
don't
yeast.
kill it.
Okay, so let's...
Now you stir until it's smooth.
Oh man, this smells so good. Reminds me of Grandma's house. Thanksgiving, walking in, she's making a bunch of rolls. That was my grandpa's favorite thing my grandma would do during the holidays is make some rolls. After we'd eat, Grandpa would always say he's full, and then what do you know, Grandpa's in the kitchen making a sandwich out of a roll.
That sounds like something I would do too.
Alright, this seems fairly smooth. Like, how smooth is it saying it needs to be?
Okay, I'll read you exactly what it says. With a mixer, which we're not doing,
Here's a mixer.
beat in 2 cups of flour until smooth.
What if I got a whisk? You think a whisk would work?
I would think a heavy-duty spoon like this would do better than that. Or maybe we should just try the mixer again.
Let's just do I'll do the hand whisk. I'm back. Here's an old-fashioned whisk. You don't give up on Frack Daddy Barbecue.
That's the spirit. Now use those muscles and we'll continue.
To me, that's pretty smooth, y'all. Okay, so what's our next step?
Next step is to stir in the remaining 1.5 to 2 cups of flour until it forms a soft dough.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with 1 cup.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
And it does say be sure the dough isn't too sticky.
Okay.
So that's our goal.
So here's 1 cup. Now, let's get back to mixing.
Who needs a stand mixer when you got muscles?
That's right.
You should just get it everywhere.
Not at liberty to say.
I was worried about that. So would you say it's still pretty sticky?
Oh yeah.
So maybe another cup?
We can try half.
Okay.
But let me get this out of here and then we'll...
Please hold while we're having technical difficulties.
Cue the elevator music. Sorry y'all, this is why I'm not a baker and I'm a fracker.
Frack Daddy Barbecue, he's just like you when it comes to bread.
Okay, so here's 1 cup. We're only going to put half of this in at first, give or take. Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm just like my grandma. I do not measure usually. It's just kind of by eyeball, but when it comes to baking, you should follow the recipes.
Yes. I would think the only difference with the mixer is, you know, it would incorporate it better and get more airy the way it needs. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about this, to be honest.
Well, it's not too sticky right here.
Okay, let me see what it says. Cover the dough.
We don't need to knead it, or...
Nope. It says right here. I'm going to read you straight from the book. Cover the dough and let it sit in a warm place for 45 minutes or until it has risen slightly. Knead down the dough slightly and knead in more flour if it's too sticky.
I just added a little bit more flour, guys, because it is pretty darn sticky.
Oh, you just blew some at me. Let me try to get the camera a little bit closer. Hang on, we're moving in. Oh, never mind, it won't go. That way y'all can see, see how it's looking. Hey, that actually looks pretty good.
That really does look good. So, okay. Now, this isn't something that says in the book, but I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to oil this bowl so it does not stick. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil. Something my grandma taught me to prevent it from sticking. So we're just going to kind of roll it around in here. Alright, y'all, so there it is. Now it says stick it by a warm spot. Let me think. Warm spot. Warm spot. Ah, yes. Next to the crock pot with the pot roast. We're right here by the crock pot. Let's cover this up and let it go to sleep for about 45 minutes. Okay, y'all, it's been 45 minutes. Let's take a look. Alright, cue the music, Melissa.
I'm nervous. Wait, take a guess. What is it gonna look like?
I hope it's a big poofy ball, like your hair.
Bungles.
You ready, y'all?
I'm ready.
Yes!
Wow. It's hard to tell on camera, but
bread goals
has risen.
Oh, it's so fluffy and
can you touch?
Puffy. Yeah.
Pow! I'm gonna punch
so
it.
let's get the cookbook and we're gonna read what we're gonna do next.
So the next step is to knead it, and if it's sticky, add some more flour.
Okay, y'all, so I'm going to add just a very little bit of flour because it's still kind of tacky. Now, I'm not going to use all of this, so I'm just going to maybe cover it and knead it in that way. So that kind of seems like it's going to be good for me. Now, I did take home ec in high school, in junior high, but the only thing they taught me how to be was a fat ass and eat.
Was that your favorite class?
It's the only class I didn't fall asleep in.
Huh.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite classes too. I loved it. Ooh.
Okay, y'all, so I also forgot to flour my hands.
Rookie mistake.
That's right. But now this is coming together. Alright, y'all, this is the Frack Daddy cam. Over the shoulder. But you might ask, how am I doing it when I'm using both hands?
It's a secret.
Let's call my assistant.
It's a trade secret.
Assistant supervisor in training right here behind me.
In training?
Y'all don't listen to her. You heard me. I'm the frack boss out here.
This is why I normally don't talk in the videos. But this is a special edition.
That's right. Alright, so you know what? I think this is going to be perfect.
Yeah, because we don't want to knead it too much. Because it makes, I mean, I could be lying. I think it makes it tough.
Tougher, chewy.
Yeah, and we want nice, airy rolls. Okay, close up.
There you go, y'all. Okay, guys, so here we have my big 12-inch cast iron pan. We've got it greased. We're going to make our dough balls, and then we'll put them in there. Okay, so it says to make these golf ball size. So here I have a little bit of olive oil, and here we have the dough. It says we should make about 20 to 24 of these, right, babe?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm not perfect at this, so I guess we'll just kind of get these as close to a golf ball size as you can get them. How's that look?
Looks pretty good to me.
Okay, so we're gonna fill this up. We'll bring you back and we'll show you what the pan looks like when we're done. And there we go. There's 24 rolls. So I'm gonna get my little brush. I'm gonna brush these with olive oil. Then we're gonna set them in the oven for 30 minutes to let them rest and proof again. And there we have it. So let's stick it in the oven. I believe it's got to be covered. And I don't know if I told y'all, but I did grease this with Crisco. Okay guys, so the reason why we're gonna put it in the oven, we heated it up to 170 something. So here in the book, step 8, it says cover the rolls with a buttered piece of wax paper and place over a pot of boiling water. Let rise for 30 minutes until nearly double in size. Meanwhile, preheat the oven to 400. So we don't have a pot big enough to do this. So our thinking says, hey, let's heat up the oven, not too hot, let it heat up, cooled it off. Now we're gonna stick it in there. Go to sleep. All right, y'all. So it's been 30 minutes. I'm nervous. Melissa's nervous, I'm sure. But I tell you what, these smell really good. So let's take Melissa.
I'm ready. They better have gotten big. Show us. What?
It's like undressing a girl for the first time.
Sure. Oh.
Tell you what, guys. They're not perfect, but you know what?
They're homemade.
This is what baking and cooking's all about.
You know, I'm looking on it on the camera, and it does no justice. These are some good-sized rolls. I mean, look at our hands compared to them. They're good-sized. Like, I don't know.
Now we got the oven preheating to 400. Now we're gonna put them in the oven. We're gonna bake them, and then guess what? Gonna go right here in my belly.
And my belly.
And with some roast.
And then maybe tomorrow, back on keto.
Maybe. No, we will.
Yeah, we have to.
I'm getting fat. Okay, guys, so here we have our oven preheated, 400 degrees. They're gonna go in for 15 minutes until golden brown, and then we'll, excuse me, and then we'll show you when we're done. Okay, guys, I hate to inform you this, but we have success. These are by far the best looking rolls I have ever made. So here I have just a little bit of butter that I'm gonna brush these with. Who doesn't like butter? Melissa, do you like butter?
Love butter. I'm like Paula Deen.
Okay guys, I'm gonna take one of these out.
Wow. Let's get a close up of it.
Oh, my goodness, y'all. Sorry, but it's hot. How about I get some more butter?
Yeah, you gotta have butter on the inside. Well, look at the airiness. I was worried we weren't gonna get that.
Me too, babe.
Alright, taste test time.
Okay, so, here we go.
Zoom in on your face. How are they?
You ever just had something that just melts in your mouth?
Yes.
It's like a pillowy cloud. This is it, guys. This tastes just like my grandma would make. Could almost bring a tear to my eyes. So, Wow. I think my grandma would be proud. I know my grandpa would be proud. He'd probably eat a half a dozen of these. So let's give Melissa a bite.
Oh, finally. Mmm.
How is it, babe?
Very good. Very yeasty and delicious.
So guys, I appreciate you guys walking through Frack Daddy Barbecue Bakes. So, if you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what y'all think. Until next time, Frack Daddy out.